with us, we have Jemiah, one of my favorite people in the New Relic org, creator of Nerd Days, master of all the dev advocacy, dev relations things at New Relic. Jemiah, say hi to the people.
Hi, everybody. I'm super excited. Wait, hold on, wait. I'm super excited to be here.
Another sick bird on Daniel, Mike.
No, I'm really excited to be here. What's up, Nika? Hey, Daniel. How are you? Mia, everyone.
I'm so good, Jemiah. I call Jemiah the ninja of New Relic. He gets things done. He's Bob the Builder of New Relic.
Yeah. You guys talk me up way too much, and I've always just say no.
But you know, secretly he's here for it. You know, like
I mean, the big thing is like Nerd Days is a really good example of this, of like actually making stuff happen, which is, you know, like it's one of the really interesting things about a mid-sized company, right? Like New Relic isn't quite big enough to say, hey, we got a startup within the company or you know, whatever else, like some you know, sub budget. So we have to make these choices about, you know, what are we going to focus on and what not. And you know, it's not like a startup, and it's not like a really big company where you have a ton of money behind every idea. So, you know, actually making like user conferences happen is a big thing. And so I always have a lot to learn when Jemiah's on. But we're not talking about Nerd Days. We're not talking about fun other events. We're talking about Student Edition today.
Student Edition, man, super excited to talk about Student Edition.
So I have for a long time said, you know, we really need to be thinking about the user experience for somebody who is just is starting out, is in some way like a lone developer. So is Student Edition really kind of focused at that user, or help me understand?
Yeah, so Student Edition is our way of helping students kind of like in their engineering journeys and in whatever way that's going to be. So that's going to be students that are at universities doing engineering programs. We're looking at ways to expand it out into boot camp programs and even just kind of like self-learners, right? Like anybody that's learning how to really make progress in this engineering journey, and they want to start learning observability up front, which we feel makes you just a better developer, but also boost your profile. And I understand the ins and outs of the software that I create. So what we're wanting to do with the Student Edition is give you access to New Relic free and give you a ton of support and resources that's just gonna allow you to be as successful in your career as we would hope you'd be.
Yeah, this is really powerful stuff because, you know, I really feel like, very much like with stuff like unit tests or other like key components of production development, like if you can show that you've developed a mastery of these while you're still a student, they are just such a boon to your career. Saying, hey, I can really be a production developer. I mean, lots of people who develop full time and have for years do not know how to do observability tools, do not know how to do like the database that's necessary. And so, you know, coming in and saying, hey, you know, I can help you add to observability for your product on day one. I mean, that's major.
Yeah, I feel the same way, right? And I've been advocating and working on this since early 2019. This is like, we need to do something in this space. Like, it's so important, right? And I think of it as like the Batman kind of like the tool belt or whatever. It's like just it's one of those tools, like adding observability to that tool belt is going to make you just like such a better engineer, much more desirable, like as you're coming out of any program. But then also I thought about it like I wasn't like, I don't have a traditional engineering background. Like I taught myself how to code, and I did that for a while, and then eventually went to like the Harvard boot camp that they have. But learning things like unit testing or like becoming a production engineer, like really what that world is like, that's a very hard takeaway to get out of just like coming directly out of university or any of those boot camp programs. So I think when you really are pursuing kind of like a career in these fields, sometimes you have to make those extra efforts to actually learn industry standards and tooling So this is just going to be for everyone that really wants to have a deep understanding of observability, and then also gives us a way to engage students of saying, hey, you should know observability. Like, it's such an important skill set to have that we're going to give you access to it free, and we're going to give you all this education around it as well.
So how does someone? Sorry, Dan, you had a question. Go on.
Oh yeah, so it's not more of a question, but kind of why I'm so excited about the student edition is because what we're giving away on top of extra data that you can ingest is also the ability for multiple people to collaborate on the same instance. And that's a really important feature because back in my day, literally a year ago, but back in my day when I was in college, I remember having to work on a senior design project with some of my classmates to build like a full stack application. And whenever we had an issue, right? Because every single time we like had a demo to a professor, it would always break. You know, it never was like the day before it was working perfectly, and the day of it just like breaks. And if we had to debug, we'd have to physically meet up at the library, huddle up on one computer, and try to figure out what was going on. It was really difficult to try to communicate exactly what was going wrong effectively, like virtually, like it was virtually impossible. Oh my gosh, I'm so funny. Like over the internet, like we tried to do it on Zoom and just didn't work. And I feel like having access to tools like New Relic, and instead of calling observability, calling it like getting data into your existing apps, students are able to like better communicate with each other and work together to solve issues. And it's not only for enterprises, it's for everyday software developers that are even starting out in their journey, just to get more insights into your data and like insights into what your app is actually performing.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Because, you know, in some ways it's like, yeah, it's true, right? You could absolutely learn observability, you could learn networking, you could learn all these pieces on the job or sort of when you absolutely need them. I do think, you know, like you're going to be hard pressed if you're doing like a weekend hackathon to say like, hey, we have good like unit test coverage, we have good observability, we have good, you know, network security, right? Like there's some level of like, hey, what this is a project you're trying to get out the door in 6 hours, then those tools aren't necessary. But once you start saying, hey, I'm going to work on a group project for even 2 weeks, right, where there's multiple people contributing to it, it's very often something I love about like short-term, like week-long hackathons or 2-week hackathons is that they give you a chance to experience all the real software stuff all at once. And one of the big ones is realizing that you can only solve problems like in person and synchronously is really tough. And that really reminds me of like, you know, why do you learn Git? Why do you learn GitHub comments and issues and, you know, all these procedures, right? You may not need them on your first 2 projects, but if you practice them now, you'll have those skills for when it does matter, which could very well be, you know, midway through your student journey, not just once you get into the, you know, professional world.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
Oh, so I can just give you an anecdote because I actually gave a talk about this at Future Stack. Was when a couple of students were developing an app for Bit Project. When we had to debug, we would literally send Heroku screenshots or like code snippets of the logs. And then when we had microservices that were connected together, the debugging was through AWS's native like console. And debugging with those types of tools, especially if you're trying to screen share and you're like, can you zoom in? And like, it's a whole nightmare trying to debug everything with these kind of disjointed tools. Having a single source of truth for all of your data and your application is a godsend when you're trying to figure out what's going wrong and fix it as soon as possible. So like, I'm so excited to get to share that with students as I work with more and more students with New Relic.
Yeah, that should have been your Halloween costume for this year. Just a screenshot of logs, right? Like, how scary is that? Like, and I think that as a student, you may think that this is okay, but it's never going to work once you kind of like get out of that kind of educational capacity. So you need to start to rapidly learn, like, this is how we deal with logs, or here's how we figure out like what to do in an outage, or how we can stop an outage, and learn how to work proactively, right? So I think with the student edition, we just wanted to give you access to kind of like a best-in-class platform, make it like freely available to any student that wants to learn, and then look at ways that we can better engage them to say, you know, like, you're going to learn how to write code and think of algorithms and things like that in your programs. But now let's take a look at what it takes to go from that to being like an SRE, or how do you go from writing code to being a DevOps engineer? Like, let's actually start taking a look at some of these tools that you need to fully form a successful career. And a part of that is collaboration, like Daniel said, right? Like, as a student, you're kind of going through it alone, but as soon as you get into the world, it's about working as a part of a team. So that's where like those full users come in, and it's such a generous offering, right? Like, if we were to charge monthly, it'd be a pretty pricey thing to have access to. So I'm pretty proud of the work that we did to get it out, and the offering I think is pretty solid. So I'm excited to see what happens in the future with these engineers that will be coming out of university just better equipped, or coming out of like a boot camp program better equipped to deal with some real world issues that they'll face in software development.
So how does a student get access to the student edition?
Okay. Good question, right? So mail me a check for $59.95. No, I'm kidding.
You can Venmo that to my insert Venmo ID here.
Yeah, just kidding.
Yeah.
So we are exclusively offering the student edition as a part of the GitHub Student Developer Pack, and I was really excited about that. Right? Like when I started this kind of like, we should be in this space in 2019. It was a part, like, looking at being a part of the developer pack. I think GitHub's currently working with 10 million students, or giving 10 million plus students access to just tons of kind of like industry standard software for free. I was like, that's the space that we should be in, right? Like, I think anyone that is in any kind of like technical space or writing any type of code, you want to learn Git, you're going to use GitHub. And I think that the work that the GitHub student pack is doing was like just a perfect space for us to launch this program. So what you do is sign up for the GitHub Student Developer Pack. You're going to create a free New Relic account. So sign up for our free tier. It's cool because even after you're a student, you still have that free account, right? And that's a free forever account. And then once you log into your New Relic account, you'll convert your free tier account into a student account. There's like a validation area inside the platform where you just authorize with the GitHub student kind of like OAuth login. Will recognize that you're a part of the student developer program, and instantly you go from having 1 user to 3 users and 500 gigabytes of data ingest, and all of that for free, as long as you're a student.
It's a party. So you all should go and sign up and then get your free New Relic account with 3 users.
I really, really like that. So Jemiah, is there other stuff you want to let people know as they get started or kind of explore into this?
Yeah, I say just, what would I say? Because I would say the best way to learn is to start exploring it. Like, New Relic is such a vast platform that you'd want to sign up, get into there, and then you just start tinkering around, like instrumenting some of your services, learning some new things. We will have like emails that go out. Nothing is salesy. It's all about just kind of like support and education.
Guiding you through like actually getting deployed.
Yeah. So I think like for anyone that's interested in learning kind of like these modern development tools, or learning about observability in general, this is going to be the perfect place to start with like no force. Like, we're not going to try to sell you anything. It's just like, hey, here's access to the platform, here's some resources, and it'll be really cool to just see kind of like the outcomes.
Yeah. Now, if you do start using New Relic Student Edition and you instrument some cool cloud stuff, here's my shameless plug for Serverless Days Student Edition, which we named in a super original way. And
the most original, let me tell you.
PFP is still open. So this is all material that's aimed at beginners. So do check it out, student.serverlessdays.io. It's also in the Twitch chat. It'll be in the YouTube description. But yeah, I'd love to see people getting started. If you do get really into it, come and find me or Daniel on Twitter and DM us. And we'd love to have you come on the stream and show kind of what your journey was. I bet Jemiah would love to hear about that too. And well, good. We got the Twitch links. You can find me everywhere at Serverless Mom. You can find Daniel at Learn with Daniel, Learn W Daniel on Twitch. Daniel, what other plugs do you want to give beyond your SoundCloud album that's of course is dropping?
Yeah, I just want to say, getting started with New Relic can be really intimidating, honestly. So if you have any questions, there's a New Relic user Slack that's really awesome that has a bunch of Relic folks. New Relic folks in it, so you can ask questions there, or feel free to just reach out to me or Nika on Twitter. We'd be more than happy to help answer your question or direct you into the right person to answer your question. So we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I really feel that. I would say, just like unit testing or like when we were all trying to learn Git for the first time, like it is a big professional tool, and we are always working to make like the happy path, the starter path work better with New Relic. So we want to hear if you get stuck or feel challenged. But observability is a big subject. So trying to observe every function, every feature, every error, there's going to be a lot of complexity to that. And so don't be surprised if trying to get stuff implemented in an afternoon when you're a beginning coder to begin with, that's going to be a challenge, and we're here to help. Jemiah, do you have other stuff you want to plug, other events we want to talk about?
No, I think pretty much keep an eye out for Nerd Days. That is something that will be coming really fast at you. And I think that we'll absolutely be incorporating the student edition into Nerd Days, possibly having a whole student track, right? Just kind of like all about those educational resources, getting hands-on for all the engineers out there, from students up into kind of like the ninjas that just graded everything. So keep an eye out for Nerd Days. I'd say.
So you're just turning them into Jemiahs. That's what you're saying.
Too much credit, Daniel. Just give me too much credit. And then I'm always in the New Relic user Slack channel as well. So if you have any questions about Student Edition, you have any questions about New Relic, feel free to reach out to me there. I'll be happy to help anyone along their journey. And thank you all for having me on the show. I can't wait to have something else cool to come on and talk about. I'll start working on it right now, just so I have another reason to join. But this is always fun.
I love it. Okay, well, if you were so good as to watch an entire hour-long stream about New Relic and New Relic tools, find me on Twitter and DM me the word fettuccine, and I will get you some New Relic swag. No problem.
Let me do that real quick, because I want some fettuccine anyways, and I'm on Twitter already. So let me go do it.
Okay, the word is fettuccine. You know I'm not going to mail you fettuccine, right?
Oh, no!
Though I would love that. That's such a strong concept. It's just like penne Alfredo, just in a box. So awful.
DoorDash me some fettuccine. It's fine.
Boy, we really jumped the rails during that final plug. We were doing so good. It was such a professional stream. But
I like the idea of some New Relic fettuccine swag packs. We might be able to make that happen for Nerd Days.
It's like an ice cold Ziploc bag with no labeling. Like,
I was thinking DoorDash, but like icy cold fettuccine.
Setting up the swag for everybody to just be reaching into a big pot. Swag packs ready to go out. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Come and do follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, and we'll see you next week. We're gonna have yet more fun stuff.
Yay!
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Play us out. Producer Mia, play us the exit music.